I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black,
Sounds
and
a
I'm
little low,
black,
huh?
y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, black.
Start that over.
It was a little low. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it was low. I don't know.
Because your computer volume was low?
I can't. Like, what the fuck is going on with iTunes, man? God damn, man. What the hell is that?
I don't know.
All right, let's start that over.
Okay. Welcome everyone to Need I Say More, episode number 43. I'm one of your hosts, Giuseppe, joined by my co-host with the most, Terrance.
Yes, sir.
We are back. We are ready. We are going. No one can stop us. A lot to talk about, Terrance. So before we get going, let me ask you a quick question. We're getting older, right? We're almost dead, actually.
No, I'm still 30.
Oh God, you're already doing that? Well, see, that actually partially answers my question I was going to ask you. Are you going to start hiding your age at some point? Like if you start getting grays, you're going to go, nah, none of that?
No. I'm doing it now. I'm starting now.
So you're 30 years old, you're already hiding your age.
Yep.
So you're never going to get gray hair?
Nope.
Okay.
Look, man, I'm 35.
I mean,
I was literally just telling Corey this last night. I was like, I'm 35.
All right. I mean, if you know,
don't stop me.
I don't care about going gray, to be honest with you. I care about losing my hair, though. That's the thing. If long as I keep the hair,
not as bad as you think, honestly.
Yeah, but you look good with a shaved head. I think I would look like a friggin' neo-Nazi. I mean, I don't think it would be a good look on me. I have a weird shaped head anyway. It wouldn't, big ears, it wouldn't work on me.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't got to worry about, styling my head or anything like that. Or it's a lot of things I don't got to worry about anymore. Just make sure my head is clean shaved.
And I'm not knocking that. I don't think it would look good on me. I don't think I have that look. I do have the beard though, which would help offset it because the beard looks good when you're shaved, but still.
Yeah, there you go.
But now I'm not doing that. I'm keeping the hair turns. That's the one thing we talked about that a few weeks ago about accepting your flaws and just doing all, which apparently Terrance won't. But I don't want to lose the hair. You just said you're lying about your age and you're gonna dye your hair. So
age is not a flaw.
Well, but it's if your hair starts graying, that would be considered something like a flaw.
No. I'm fine with the gray. I'm fine with the gray. I'm just gonna be 30.
Are you really gonna let the gray? I mean, I guess you don't have facial hair or hair on your head, so I guess there's nothing gray.
Yeah.
You gotta start with the beard, man. Come on, you gotta start growing.
You know what it is? I when it comes to it, like on my cheeks, it doesn't grow as much, but under my chin and like side, like your sideburns or whatever.
Yeah,
it grows in pretty like look like. Hold on, let me see if I can start the video.
Oh, here we go.
Right.
Everyone, I am seeing Terrance. Well, I'm seeing a silhouetted Terrance because
the sun is like really.
I can't see shit. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's all in the neck. Fortunately, the mic's behind you now. That's why I can't hear much what you're saying. You can't.
You see what I mean? Like on my cheeks, it comes in on my cheeks, but it comes in light. And also when it starts growing in, it starts looking bad. So I like can't.
But you probably shave like once a week, no?
Yeah.
I cannot believe after all this time it hasn't started growing in thicker than.
Yeah. No.
That's insane. Because for me, I started growing out my kind of like beard, facial hair when I was like 20.
I like it though.
What?
I like it. It's just clean. I don't know. Like
I'm telling you, a beard does something for you, man. Like not only, I mean, the look, it makes a good look, but I think it feels good to have a beard. Like when I first grew like my facial hair, I was like 22, and then I was like 24 when I started growing like the full beard, and it was fine, but it wasn't thick enough. It wasn't until last year during when COVID first started, I shaved it all, and now it's thicker. Plus, I'm kind of growing it a little bit more, so it looks kind of good, man. It's like a good, like strong quality beard that I got. I've wanted this my whole life, Terrance.
Nice.
That actually was something else I do want to talk about. Like, we're getting to that point. We're actually at that point where we're old enough. People who see us, who don't know us, the people on the street or whatever it is, we actually have authority now. Have you noticed that? Like, if you complain at a restaurant or whatever it is, people, I feel like 10 years ago would have been like, they would kind of pass it off because we were just kids. Now we have a bit of authority. If you complain to somebody, they're going to go, that man just complained. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, what do you mean we have authority?
Like we're actually full on adults in their 30s. Like we're not. Remember, like a decade ago when we were kids, like you saw someone in their 30s, there was a bit of authority because they were older. You know, like if they said something, it was a bit like more.
Okay.
Like if me and you go to right now or walking into a restaurant we're eating and we're not having a good experience, if we could tell a manager, they're going to take what we say seriously. Because if we were 20, they're going to go, some fucking kids. But now it's like, well, now we're adults, you know, like your word.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely taking more serious, you know, as you get older.
And
but
it's
it's
also
the way you present yourself too.
It is how you present yourself. And I think, obviously, we have matured naturally as we get on, but it is interesting. Like there's almost a bit of, it's almost like with great power comes great responsibility. Like we have a bit of authority now and we have to like, I'm not going to abuse that, but like I do enjoy if I actually have an issue, if I say something, like people pay attention because I'm a grown ass fucking man now, Terrance.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we get too off track here, Terrance, we always start off the show with our patented Black Excellence shout out of the week.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black.
Oh yeah. Black Excellence can't stop, won't stop. Shout out of the week goes out to a maybe 2-time or 3-time Black Excellence shout out. You know, we don't do this often. We don't do this often.
We give someone another shout out.
Yeah. You know,
we don't normally do that.
You gotta really be Black Excellence in order to get another Black Excellence.
Yeah, there's too many people to shout out. We can't just keep going back. So you gotta really be,
so it definitely doesn't happen often. But Black Excellence shout out goes out to the incomparable, the legendary, the give me some more, Joe, to add on to this.
The what's a good word? The indomitable. There you go.
Indomitable Sean Corey Carter, aka Jay-Z.
Is there a bit of you that loves that your future wife and Jay-Z share a name?
Joe, that would be just sick.
Not in a weird way, just in like a cool, they have a stamp.
It is kind of dope though.
It's I mean, like weird. I was just saying, like, it's kind of cool that they have both have Corey.
It's kind of dope.
Favorite rapper and your favorite human, I guess I would assume Corey. Favorite human on Earth.
No, Jay gets a shout out of the week. It's just because the guy just keeps doing great shit. Just keeps doing great shit, right? And why does he get the shout out of the week, right? I know you're probably asking, you know, why again?
Why the J?
Why the J, right? So if you've been following the series of Black Excellence shout outs I've been doing for the past 3-4 weeks, I've been kind of following the wealth of Black Excellence.
We did talk about some Black billionaires last week, I think, right?
Exactly. And you know, Oprah got brought up. Byron Allen,
that's apparently a real name.
One as well. But you know, Jay-Z falls in that category. He is worth $1.4 billion.
Ooh,
right?
Spread a little of that wealth around to me and you, Terrance. Sponsor the show, Jay-Z, if you're listening.
There you go. Sponsor the show. I would love to be on Tidal. Which, by the way,
do you imagine? Need I say more? Presented by Rock Nation.
I mean, that sounds dope
great,
already.
Right?
It sounds dope already, right?
Just saying it made me excited.
Fly.
We got to reach out to Jay.
That just sounds some fly shit right there.
Come on, this is a minority-owned podcast, Black-owned podcast, hosted by a Black man. I mean, from Brooklyn. I mean, Jay, come on, you got to get on board.
From Brooklyn, you know, went to the same high school.
Yeah, come on, Jay, you got to get on board with this. So this is
there we go. I mean, it's like family. But 1.4 billion, right? That's what the guy is worth, right? I mean, we could speak about all the investments, whether it be Rock Nation, both the record label and the sports agency.
At one point, he owned part of the Nets and Barclays Center.
The NBA, I'm sorry, not the NBA. The NFL changed their rules because this guy was just picking up agents. His agents were picking up NFL players, and the NFL was just like, they changed the rules. This was a big thing.
I think I remember this. It was some
there
bullshit.
You go. It was some bullshit. The NFL basically said that you had to have a degree in order to represent.
That is Dude, that is such
NFL player or something like that.
that
Because
is
as we know,
that is
Mr. Jay-Z, who's worth $1.4 billion, never actually graduated from high school.
Terrance, that rule that the NFL made is a prime
Look at
example of why the NFL is so obviously racist. Like, I'm not
Would you
even
look at
exaggerating.
that?
Like, that is the dumbest thing I ever heard. Why do you care? Why do you care if they have a degree? What does that affect you if an agent has a degree, if they're representing somebody? I don't understand. What does that mean?
There you go.
God.
But here's
Fuck
how
NFL. Fuck the
here's
NFL.
here's a genius of this, right? Because they did that, and you want to know how you're an excellent and amazing business person is when you don't hold grudges, right? But you make the person pay for what they did.
What is
So
the
not
don't get angry, get even? I believe is
don't
that.
get angry, get even, right?
That's what that is.
So they told him, mind you, they changed rules after he was already doing this. So he's already doing this, right? And then guess what? A couple years down the line, the NFL halftime show starts tanking. They can't figure out what to do. Guess who they call? Jay-Z.
Did
Hey,
they
Jay.
really?
Hey, Jay, can you help us? Can you help us with the halftime show and things and blah, blah, blah? You know what Jay says? Sure, I'll help you. But I need a seat at the table. I need a seat at the table to understand what you guys are doing, especially after what happened with Kaepernick. I need to understand how the NFL is running things. So Jay gets a seat at the table. This was a big thing about 2-3 years ago because people were like, "Oh, Jay betrayed us."
I mean, I could
went
understand
against
that.
us.
I could understand that. It depends on what he's doing. I believe we talked about this at one point, actually, didn't we?
We
Maybe-
might have briefly brought it up.
But it depends on what he's doing. If he really is he getting a seat at the table because he actually wants to make change for Black people, or is he doing it for money?
To quote one of Jay-Z's famous lines, he says, "I can't help the poor if I one of them, so I got rich and gave back. That's the win-win." Being able to affect change from the inside does more. We can't continue to complain from outside the room when we don't have anybody inside of the club. We need somebody in the club in order to let us in, or to even just give us the information to say, look, yeah, I don't want to go in there. It ain't for us. They don't like us. They ain't for us. We never gonna have a place in here. So
I will say that
the spook that sat by the door.
I do agree with what you're saying for the most part, but I do think that what would have made more change without Jay-Z having to get involved would have been all the Black people who are claiming they hate that, or everybody, not just Black people, but anyone who says they hate that what happened to Kaepernick would just stop watching. Because if their ratings plummeted by like 20 million people, they would make changes.
Oh, it plummeted. I don't think it went down
Not
ridiculously, but
not enough for the amount of people who were claiming they had a
yeah,
problem with
yeah,
it.
no,
the amount of people that were claiming they had a problem was way more than people who actually stopped.
Yeah, it's way too big of a conglomerate to seriously be hurt, but they felt it a little bit.
But that's the thing, that's what they want you to believe. It's not, man, because the entirety of the NFL's money comes from you. It comes from fans. It comes from you watching the game. It comes from you buying jerseys. It comes from you going to the games, right? If the amount of people who claim they were so upset about Kaepernick, if they actually just went, I'm not watching the shit anymore, trust me, the NFL would have lost a lot of money. But
I'm sure
that's not the world we live in. People just don't. People pretend they are. They act very upset, but then people talk the talk. They don't walk the walk, right? They act like they're upset, and then they just continue watching. So that's the real. But I'm not saying Jay-Z maybe can't change it. Has he done anything to change it since? He's been a couple of years, right?
I don't really pay attention to NFL and stuff, so I don't really.
Me neither.
I don't really know. But to add on to this guy's greatness and everything that he is doing, not only does he continue to, by the way, the guy has a illegal marijuana business that he's just like doing low key.
Wait, who has an illegal marijuana?
He has a legal marijuana business.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me, I guess.
Yeah. That was just like talk about full circle from selling drugs illegally to illegally.
Yeah, that's the way to do
it. But to add on to his greatness, Jay-Z is now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Because of course they don't have a hip hop one for some reason.
Because they don't have a hip hop
so
Hall
weird.
of Fame. And
someone's got to get on that. He should do it himself. Just make.
Oh yeah, they're probably working on that.
Just have it, put it in Brooklyn for why not?
They're probably working on that behind the scenes.
I cannot believe they haven't done that. 2021, they don't have.
But this is a great thing. And to add on to just how cool you are, he gets the person that everyone is trying to cancel right now to induct him.
Maybe they're trying to cancel him. Who knows?
You can't cancel him.
But to be fair, we talked about this pre-show. Like maybe there are people who are trying to cancel Dave Chappelle, or maybe it's just the media telling you that there are people doing this. It's hard to know anymore in the world. He's
still going to sell out shows. He's not canceled.
No one's canceling Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle inducted Jay into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
which I like a lot.
And one of the great things that was said by Dave Chappelle, and I quote, "This is an incredible honor to induct this next man into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But I need everybody in rock and roll now know that even though we are honoring him, he is ours. He is hip hop," which I think is a great way to set the tone.
And also to go, why don't we have a hip hop hall? Like these rock and roll and hip hop are not the same thing in any capacity. I don't understand why we don't have that. Like that should, Jay-Z hopefully heard that and was like,
shout out to Run DMC and Aerosmith, who did Walk This Way together. That beautiful.
I'd be into that. I'm just saying someone needs to make it. Jay-Z, make it, set it in Brooklyn. We'll do it Barclays Center every year. Boom.
There you go. There you go. Hip Hop Hall of Fame. But shout outs to Jay for continuing Black excellence. Duce, Amon the Brongyak, Rock Nation. He still has 0.1%, I believe, 0.5% of Barclays Center as a stadium.
We're calling it the Clays now, actually.
We've been calling it the Clays.
No, we haven't. Don't. That's bullshit.
No, we've been calling it. No. We've been calling it the Clays inside of the building.
I worked in the building for 2 years. I no one once.
You didn't work there for 6 years. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So you're saying it happened after my 2 years.
I'm saying it's been called the Clays for a minute. Is Katie didn't just bring that out of nowhere.
Listen, Katie
didn't just bring it out of nowhere.
Popularized it. No matter what you want to say, I've never heard.
Absolutely.
Me and you've talked about it. We've never said the Clays.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He definitely popularized it.
He said it, and it was so cool. Joseph Tsai said it. The owner.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he definitely popularized it, but don't get it twisted. He got it from the workers inside of the building,
and then he made it cool.
That's where it actually stems.
I love that he just a year in's like Clays. Everyone the Clays.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's been called. You know,
but why didn't
I love
Jay-Z
it, though.
come out with the Clays, man? Come on,
I definitely love it.
Help bring the Clays to Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean
the Clays
I definitely love that.
What streets the Barclays Center on again? I'm totally blanking.
Atlantic and Flatbush.
Yeah, the Clays on Flatbush. That sounds kind of good. But all right, shout out to you, Mr. Carter.
Hove.
Mr. Hove? The Hove? The Hova?
Hova.
Is it like the RZA?
No. It's no the. It's just Hova.
Okay, so just shout out to Hova.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Hova. Terrance, okay, before we get into anything serious, this isn't a rant, but this is something I want to bring up that has mystified me, like many things. You ever you're waiting in line, wherever you're waiting in line to someone, grocery store, whatever it is, and they get to the front and they put their stuff and they're talking, and then it comes to the time to pay and they seem like they had no idea this was coming. Oh yeah. And then they're in their purse or something, or they're looking for their money, and it takes like 3 minutes, and you're like,
without being on the phone.
Yeah, like this person's like 50 years old, and you're like, have you never paid for something? Like, did you not know this part was coming at the end of the transaction? You have to give them money.
Yeah.
Have you not seen this before?
Nah, it's happened a few times.
I feel like I am always like, I know the order of these things. I put my stuff down. They start scanning them. I put the thing away. I get my wallet out. They say how much. I pay for it. I mean, people who aren't in that position, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you have to pay. Why are you like, oh, of course, let me look at my purse I got to find, where's my money? Like, what are you doing?
I mean, it's tough, right? Because
Is it tough?
I feel like people are distracted. Like I know for myself, when I'm getting rung up at the supermarket, I'm looking at if the person is double scanning something, if the price is the
Right,
correct
but you
price that
still
I saw
know,
it for.
you still, and I do that as well, but you still know I have to pay. Like I have my wallet ready in my back pocket. And I know, even if let's say I'm not like on the ball and like to get to that point, I still go, okay, 2 seconds, my wallet's out and my car, like you can't be like, oh yeah. And then you have like go through, you're opening up your pockets and you're looking like, you got to be ready. Like you're going to be paying. You have to be like on the ball. Like I'm ready to pay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a little bit prepared for it,
But you,
but you can use your phone nowadays too, and maybe
yeah,
your,
you can do that.
Apple Pay is not working, and now you got to go into your wallet.
And but see, but
Wasn't
that's a different.
prepared for that.
What I'm saying, that's a little different. But what I'm saying is, I've seen, and it's not uncommon. Like I was at that pharmacy the other day, and this lady came up. She asked for prescriptions.
I gotta go to the pharmacy actually.
Oh God,
Gotta
let's not
pick
get
up some
started on that.
stuff.
My $650 medication. We talked about that on the show, right?
Yeah, I was nervous
I got
after
it finally.
after sharing
That
that
story.
experience with you, because I had went to the doctor, then I got it prescribed, so I had to go to Rite Aid to pick it up, and I was like, "Fuck, how
It
much is
happened
it
to
gonna
me.
go to cost
It happened to
me?"
me. I fortunately, to closure
Oh
on that
man,
story. Did we tell that on the show or was that pre-show last week? I don't remember.
I can't remember. I don't know.
But I did get the medicine. They not for $650 for like three.
Okay,
So it's good.
good, good shit.
Yeah, but when I was waiting to pick it up this time, there was a woman. She asked for prescriptions. The lady went. Like 2 minutes later, she finally comes back, and she hands them to her. And then the lady like stood there, and then she's like, "Oh, you pay." And she was like, and she seemed blown away that this was happening to her. And she was
That
like
she had to pay
looking.
for an experience,
She
a
had to pay for
prescription.
you pay for prescriptions. They're never free, even if it's like
Yeah,
50 cents. But she seemed like at no point did it cross her mind that that's how prescription medicine worked. She felt like she just canned it and I don't know. Like this is what I mean. People seem like they have no idea that's coming. As if it's as if it's just a mystery to pay at the end of a transaction. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
anyway, I think it's just funny to me.
It's weird.
Also annoying.
Are you high?
What? No, I'm not high. Why would-
You are high as a fucking kite.
Did you ever wonder about the sky and why it looks so blue?
No,
I mean, I was walking down the street and I was looking up at it and I was thinking like, it didn't have to be this way. Like if you're on Mars, dude, there's no sky at all. There's just like the gray 100% of the time. Like we look up, we have this beautiful blue color. You don't think that's like amazing?
I mean, yeah, but I never had the ability to just have a high moment and just look up in the sky.
Like I said, I don't do any kind of drugs in any capacity. Listen, I go now that it's cold, I go for a walk at least once a week to the store. I usually do actually more than that. But anyway, but the other day, it was on Wednesday, it was like the most, it's like my perfect day, Terrance. It was like 51 degrees, had a nice jacket on, not a cloud anywhere I could see, just a pure blue sky. And as I was walking, I was looking up and I was like, man, look at that. That's just beautiful. That's just beautiful nature right there. And then I was thinking like, didn't have to be that way. Like if I looked up and it was just pure gray and that was what our sky looked like 100% of the time, very different.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be used to whatever it is. Like, but also,
you think we would find that gray? Like I would be like, oh, look at that beautiful gray sky. You think that's how?
No, it's not that. It's this. How we're conditioned is how we accept things. If you, from the age of 2 years old, was taught that sky is yellow, we all see blue, but you see yellow because.
Hold on. Do I actually see what we perceive as yellow, or I just think blue is yellow?
No, you see blue as yellow.
So I'm not. So the blue that we both know of, you're seeing, but I'm not. I'm seeing yellow.
You're seeing yellow because that's what you were conditioned to
but
see.
I don't. But hold on a second though. If when you were born, your parents were just mean. They changed every color. They were like reds, blue, greens. Yeah, they just told you that. You would still see the same colors. You would just say blue is green.
Exactly.
But in this case, though, you can't change the way I'm looking at things.
I don't see right. But
when
you
we
just
all
said,
look up
like if you looked up and you just saw it as gray or whatever, would you think it's weird? But also it depends, right? Because are you thinking it's weird? Would we think it's weird because it all of a sudden just changed, or this is just the way that a particular person views it?
That's a good point. I guess I think pretty much every society does we do. There's always the general like, oh, nature is beautiful, or like a beautiful green, lush field or a forest or the blue sky. Like as a whole, I think human beings find that aesthetically pleasing. But if the sky was always gray, it was never blue, would we find that appealing then? Because we've never known a beautiful blue sky.
We never, yeah.
It's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's what
question.
we become accustomed to.
Because right now,
so
like if the sky changed and was like completely pink, we could still find that nice. It might be a little weird to us at first, but it doesn't mean doesn't look nice.
Right.
But
aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. But then I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I do think blue has an effect on a lot of different creatures of this world, not just humans, but blue is like a very nice, calming feeling to people. And that's not a human thing. Like animals have the same thing.
Well, that's part of color psychology, I think.
Right, but this is what I mean. This is what I mean. The sky it happens to be blue. What if it was red? Red generally is also the same thing. Like bulls get mad at red as well. Red is an angry color. So would that change the whole planet if the sky was just red, or if we looked up and saw red?
I mean, it's possible, right?
Maybe we would have killed ourselves way long ago because we would have been even more angry than we already are.
So I love this the thought of color psychology. I've been following it for years.
All right, here we go.
Since I was in marketing class in college. So blue, right? Blue instills trust, peace, loyalty, and competence. I think it's a little bit too small.
Yeah, it's a little small. But see what I mean? But peace, like you see blue and it's a very peaceful thing. So we look up on a nice day and we see a beautiful blue. I saw blue and I was like, that's gorgeous.
Feel that peace.
Yeah. If it was red, excitement, strength, love, and energy. I'm not saying those are bad, but it is. White is just clean, simplicity. Yeah, I guess that's true. Innocence and honesty.
I mean, here's why I love this. And I think I'm about to take this a different way, but
here we go.
Here's why I love this, because when we look around, right, we can see the psychology of color playing tricks on us every single day, right? Now, when you think of fast food restaurants, almost always, they will have yellow in their logo.
Is that true? Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell. Oh, wow, Terrance, you're onto something. Why is this?
What does yellow? Okay, so yellow is for creativity, happiness, warmth, and cheer.
Interesting, Terrance.
So here's the thing, right? I always find this super fascinating, right? Because I'm like, all of these companies are technically playing mind games on us.
I mean, that is 100% true. Yeah, that's definitely
every single day. You think of banks. Banks involve blue, red, and green.
Is that true too?
Think about it. Take another minute.
Blue, red, and green. Yeah, you don't see yellow in a bank though, do you? Terrance, we are cracking the code here, aren't we?
There you go. Right.
Yeah. What is there a bank that's yellow in there? Chase is blue. TD is green. Wells Fargo is red. Like a red. There is yellow, but it's primarily red.
Yeah.
Terrance, this is fascinating.
Yeah. So when we think about it, right, and then let's make this full circle, right, and go back to the clouds. So we look up and
you see beautiful blue. Peace.
We're seeing blue, right? We should probably take more time to do that and look up at the clouds because of what the color does for us.
I hate the summer. We've talked about this many times. I love the cold. And now, like I said, I literally am trying to go for a walk at least like 3-4 times a week. And, obviously it's not the sky, sometimes it's overcast, but the last couple of days, it's been beautiful sunshine. And all I'm seeing is this perfect sky. And I'm walking and I'm like, God, and that genuinely puts me at a little bit of peace. I'm not even lying. It's actually that's why I brought this up.
I think this is dope. I think anyone and everyone should start paying attention to color psychology, just to be aware of what's happening around you and how companies are trying to push certain feelings onto you. It's kind of like opening up your mind to the matrix.
Like black is formality, or dramatic. That's true. Like if you're wearing like an all black suit, it's definitely like you look sharp. I love a good all black suit, by the way, or a pinstripe black or something. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, black always makes you look slimmer.
That's true. That's why it's all I wear.
Look at this. Look at brown. Brown, dependable, rugged, trustworthy, simple. UPS did an amazing job picking that color.
What can brown do for you?
What can brown do for you?
It was that their thing?
That's
No.
it. No, yeah,
it was right.
thing.
Yeah. So
That's
there you go.
thing.
And it's literally dependable on what word would you possibly want more associated with your brand if you were a delivery service and dependable.
That's
Orange
good
is
UPS.
confidence, success, bravery and
sociability.
Yeah.
What big fast food chain is big on orange? Think about it.
I don't know. I don't eat fast food much, if at all. Orange. This is probably an obvious one. Well, I don't know. Take me with it.
All right. So orange again. Confidence, success, bravery, sociability. Hooters.
And that in white. So there's, dude, think about that. Innocence is for white, which they're not, but that's what they want you to think. Mm-hmm. Orange, confidence, sociability.
There you go.
If I could if we could do like the mind exploding thing, I would do right now.
Oh, we are opening people's minds.
This is genuinely fascinating. I do love psychology. I got to take a psychology class because I fucking love this.
But it's dope shit because it's happening around us.
Yeah. Companies definitely. This isn't like a coincidence. Companies definitely are aware of this.
Oh no, yeah. They're aware. They're 100%. Like before they package something, they're like, "What color should we make it?" or something. I saw I think I was watching a documentary, and it was talking about how hard Steve Jobs was going about Apple's packaging and how he wanted the box when it opens just to have a little bit of air in it, like a little pocket of air to give you a dramatic feeling when you're opening a box of an iPhone. Think about how
he was big on that type of stuff.
Think about how genius that is. Like that's fucking genius, bro. Like that's dope.
No, it is, man. He was big on that type of stuff. Like that's the thing. He wasn't like a good programmer. He wasn't necessarily good in business. Well, he was, but
excellent
marketer. He was all of these things. That's why people call him a visionary, because he was the kind of person who was like, when you open up that box, I want it to be a big deal. Like a lot of people wouldn't think about that stuff. That's what he thought about that stuff, as well as how to sell it. Like their marketing was white, right? Like they always have just the phone, like a white background, like simplicity, right? Like it's just clean and elegant, and you like it.
Honest,
fascinating stuff, man. So I would say then, and I guess these, I don't know, I guess human beings have like come, like these colors haven't always necessarily portrayed that, have we? We've made them this way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
because I think there's something that happened with these colors that, people just started to feel a certain way around these colors.
So it's interesting. Like if the sky wasn't blue, this wouldn't be the case. I imagine these would be different because that's such a big part of everyone's life is just the sky is blue. Like that's a fact that we know on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And like green, it says nature is one of them. That's because we see grass and trees is green.
Healing, freshness, quality.
Freshness. Yeah. Stuff, man. All right, Terrance, let's talk about our first kind of big topic here. This I don't know how to like properly phrase this, but I think obviously we're dealing with mental health more than ever, right? Like we're more and more people are aware of this. People that most people have some sort of not issue, but everyone suffers from something time to time, whether it's you suffer from anxiety here and there or stress, or you just talking before the show started about how like life comes at you hard and you got a lot to focus on. Like we all deal with it, and we could all use help when it comes to mental health, right? Now, something I was thinking about, I think part of it is that it's about some people just resign themselves to the bad, and they go, this is the way I am, or this is the way my life situation is, right? Like obviously everyone's life is,
you mean?
Yeah, and but it's accepting, but I don't. It's accepting when you in a bad way. Like acceptance is obviously good, but everyone has different lives, right? There are people who lose both their parents at a young age, and it's much, much worse, obviously, than someone like me who didn't have that, right? So that all varies, and as well as like, people have obviously like chemical imbalances or just things that are, actually wrong with them that they need help with. But I think a lot of people are just like, let's say their life, like a bunch of bad things have happened, maybe the course of a couple of years. They keep just trying and failing. Things aren't working out. I think a lot of people get it in their head that they have to be that way, and they accept like, well, I'm just unhappy. This is my life. Like I can't do anything about it. And I think when you do that, when you convince your own self, when your brain believes that's the way it is, that then becomes the case. And if you really just go, no, like, I'm going to get out of this. Like things will eventually get better. Things can often get better. You know, like there's a big, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a big difference between a cancer patient who is like, well, I'm going to die. What can I do? I have cancer and I'm just going to have to, I'll do the treatment, but I'm going to die, versus another person who has cancer who goes, this is bad, but I'm going to do my absolute best. I can fight this. I'm really going to get through it. You know, like there's a huge difference.
Words are powerful, right? Like they always
belief is right. Like
belief is as well. Something that I live by is faith without hard work is nothing. You cannot continue to just think and believe that things are going to get better without trying to push for that better as well.
It's both things, right? You need both. You can't
equal yoke.
You don't want to work both. You're not going to work really hard if you don't believe it. But if you can't just believe it and not work hard, you need both of those things.
You need both, right? So a lot of people, you know, I'm an optimistic person, right? I love being.
I'm on the other end of that spectrum.
Like I'm like, hey, like, you know what, things will get better. Like it'll get better. But I'm never the person to just sit there and just continue to be like, oh, this is fine. Like everything's burning, but it'll get better. No.
Right.
I believe that it'll get better, but I'm also going to continue to work my ass off to get those things that I believe should be better. You know, there are a lot of people that, you know, just they either want to do one or the other, right? You're either going to be 100%. In you're going to grind as hard as you can or whatever the case may be, but you're just always upset or angry. Like, you know, like the people that have a job that they hate, right? They hate their job.
And they
go to it every
day. If you ask them, they're like, it sucks, but it's work. I got to do it.
Right. Exactly.
Those kind of people.
And it's like, okay, cool. But how about this? How about you work towards either getting out of that job or getting out of that position or using this job? This is something I preach to almost everybody because I don't understand why people do this, right? Everybody wants to be a boss and a CEO and an entrepreneur and shit like that, right? But one of the main things you probably need is backing, financial backing, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
So you'll be at a job and you'll be creating this business and you'll just keep talking about the business, and then 2 years go by, and then 4 years go by, and then 5 years go by, you know, and you just keep talking about this business. How come you never said, I'm going to use this job for leverage for what I really want to do, whether that be financial backing, networking advantages, and things like that, whatever it takes. When I was in Barclays, I made so many connections. It's insane. I still have them to this day. I nurture those connections for when I may possibly need it. Not only that, I started a business while there. Started a business. Or I was into music. I started my own management company. I manage an artist, by the way, whose album is out. Single just dropped, Biscayne Boulevard, Cecil. We just played on the radio last week. Shameless plug. But that was something I did because it was like, I want things to change and know this may not change overnight. And I believe that things can change. I gotta put my hard hat on and my boots on and go to work.
Well, Nets reference there.
Little Nets reference. You caught it.
I caught it.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm gonna say. I agree with what you're saying. Like it is both of those things. I think a lot of people just go, no, like this is my life. Like it sucks. I hate my job and I just gotta do it. But and obviously there are some people who you have to maybe do a job, but you don't have to be unhappy. There are ways to get a different job or start a new business, like Terrance just said, or anything else, you know, like, so this is what I was thinking about is like, so me and you have had ups and downs since we've known each other, obviously. Life's not perfect. And I remember there was a time me and you met up. This is in like 2014 or something, 2015. Me and you met up. We were talking about a business idea and we had this meeting set up. We went to this, you know, I think Starbucks, and we were sitting down. We were going over all this stuff.
McDonald's, bro.
It might have been, I don't remember, but I just remember me and you both were coming off like bad times. I think I was going through a breakup. I think you were going through maybe something similar. Or I don't remember specifically, but we were both going through like bad things, and we were sitting there. We were trying to go back and forth, and we could not focus. And we both were like, "Damn, man, this is a bad time in our lives." Like separately, you know, but like we were together, and that's just what happens. But the difference between like just we didn't just go, "Oh well, this is our life. Me and you both were like, well, it's going to get better. We just got to focus on getting it better, right? Like you have to put in some hard work, and obviously time helps with certain things, but we knew we weren't going to be stuck down that path. I think that's why, like, my point of this is like, life is going to be bad at always. You're always going to have bad things in your life. Sometimes you'll be super amazing. Sometimes life will not be so good, but you can't resign yourself to like, well, my life is not good, or I am like, let's say you have anxiety, right? Obviously you should see a therapist. Yeah. There are medicines that can help that, but you also have to believe like you don't have to be reduced to this person who is miserable all the time. You can get out of that in some capacity. It's hard, obviously, when you're suffering from those type of diseases and stuff, but it is still important to believe it. This is what they talk about. Like, if you go to hospitals, talk about that with all sorts of things. Like, it's about believing it. It's about keeping people's spirits up. Because if you really just go, your brain can absolutely do anything it wants if you believe it. If you think you're going to die, your body will absolutely go, well,
absolutely.
Your brain absolutely will let you die.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean it's guaranteed to work, but like, it varies obviously. But like, yeah, I'll give you kind of a random example. I remember I had a house party like a decade ago at this point, right? I think you came over for this one actually. A bunch of people were here, we were all having fun, we were drinking. And afterwards, people started filtering out. There was this one dude who was hanging out and he was pretty hammered. And we had an empty bedroom at the time. It was between like roommates. And I was like, yo, just crash in the bed if you want. Like, it just, sleep it off. I'm like, it's no big deal. Like, no one's here. So we slept there. Next day, me and my roommate got up. The house was pretty messed up and he was still passed out. And we were all pretty hungover, but we went in and we were talking to him and he just wasn't trying to get up. He was like, no, I'm just fucked. So we were like, all right. So we got up, we went to the store, got some cleaning stuff, came back, cleaned the whole apartment. He's still on the bed. And I was like, come on, man, let's get up. Let's play a game. Some blah, blah. Wouldn't have it. It ends up going on until 5:30 p.m. He stays in the bed. He was in my apartment for almost 24 hours and he was laying down there for like 15 hours until he finally got up. But it was like, if you tell yourself like you're hungover and you can't get up, then that's what's going to happen. You got to like motivate yourself and be like, I'm not going to stay. I know that's like very different than like anxiety, but it's the same thing. Like your brain has that power. You have to believe you can make a change, whether it's a hangover or anxiety or, starting your own business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, look, I say this because I don't want people to think that me and Joe are on some type of high horse or whatever, or trying to preach to people like we're perfect or anything like that.
I will say this right now. So we're talking about mental health. I've been in therapy for the last 2 years.
And I believe, just, started, not too long ago.
Yeah. I firmly believe in therapy. Yeah. And if you need, depends on what you have, like there are drugs and medicines to help that. Obviously it depends. I don't think you should take 25 pills if you're fine,
man, but people need to talk it out, and I'm saying this from the Black community because for so long there was a stigma in the Black community that we don't talk to therapists or psychiatrists and stuff like that. I'm not crazy. First thing a Black person will say as soon as you tell them to go see a psychiatrist or talk to a therapist, I'm not crazy. It has nothing to do with being crazy. It's literally about trying to handle all of the things that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. And
Terrance, let me plant this in your head about the crazy thing. Like you're saying, oh, I'm not crazy, but what do you do with your friends and family? You tell them about your problems. You're already doing the thing you should be doing with a therapist is you're telling them your problems. The difference is a therapist is going to have ways to help you as opposed to your friends and family who aren't really trained for that type of stuff. They just are going to be there for you any way they can,
I heard something today. And as much as I am not a fan of Joe Rogan, I heard something today, actually a few days ago. There was a small clip, and I thought what he said was actually as much dumb things as he say. Even a broken clock, it's once at least 2 times a day. So
doesn't mean I want to buy it.
Right. It doesn't.
I think Charles Barkley said that once.
It doesn't. Yes.
Doesn't mean I want to buy it. It's like a broken clock is right twice a day. He's like, well, that doesn't mean I want to buy the clock.
There's actually a point.
Yeah.
But I saw a clip and Joe Rogan was basically saying like a lot of men go through silent depression, and it was basically the thought process of I have a girlfriend or a wife, I gotta make sure like she's happy, or I gotta make sure like we have food in the house,
kids
to work because I gotta make sure we pay rent, I gotta make sure the kids are raised properly and things like that, and it's like as a man you're not really supposed to complain about doing those things that are quote unquote your responsibility.
That's what we're told, right? Like, or man up, right? Don't
Or
complain, just
man
man
up.
up.
Or man up,
That
so
is example of toxic masculinity, which we talked about a while ago. That's a
right,
great example of it.
So it's like, like a lot of men go through silent depression or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to go through that. Like sometimes like
for sure.
I feel like fucking crying because it's like shit is just hard. It's complicated.
Especially
Everyone's
right now,
life
we're still in the pandemic and we're all got to still deal with the same shit, like.
Yeah, like we're not all built the same. We're not all gonna handle things the same, and my situation is completely different from your situation, completely different from this guy's situation, whatever
you
it may
listener
be, whatever it may be. So, we have to really take away the part of not being able to express ourselves. I love what this generation, the new generation, is coming into as far as being able to say openly, like, hey, this thing makes me feel like this, because that wasn't a thing when we were growing up. It wasn't common to really talk about your feelings or whatever. We just had to face the world and just deal with it or whatever. I was writing
deal
poetry
with it
because I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah, there you go. And that's the thing. Like this is what I mean. Like you either suffer silently, which is just not good, or you kind of like maybe you tell your friends about something you're dealing with, but like your friends don't know how to really handle that. So they might be like, oh, well, what about this? But it's like they're just, what, like if Terrance told me about a problem, I could help him any way I can. But do I really know what I'm talking about in terms of like actual problems he might have? Like, no. But a psychiatrist or a therapist or whatever would. That's what they do. So
yeah.
It's a good thing we're changing that perception, right? Of like, like if something's wrong with talking to a therapist, something like it doesn't mean you're crazy, or it doesn't mean anything's wrong. And if something's wrong, it's like, well, then something's wrong. It's just like if you got sick, like, yeah, you got sick. It's not, you don't want to be sick anymore. So you go to a doctor. It's like, well, if you're feeling a certain way, you're depressed or you can't handle certain things, you go to a therapist and they're going to try to get you right again. Like it's the same thing. It's not, your brain is just like any other part of your body, man. Things can go wrong. Things cannot be handled well. Just like if you, let's say you hurt your left leg and you're leaning on your right leg and then your right leg starts getting worse. It's like, well, it's because you're leaning on your right leg too much. You got to stop using it. It's like, well, your brain is not too different, right? Like if you're using it too much, there's too many things in your life and you're stressing out. Maybe you need to help work a way to work through that, like, I don't know. All right, Terrance. Let me ask you a quick question. You've obviously been on the subway once or twice in your life.
Yeah, a couple of times,
3 or 4. How like, obviously if you ever see like a woman or a person, I guess, with like a baby carriage, help them out the stairs. If they're going up, you want to just,
oh man. Yeah. We about to go ahead. Let's go.
Well, hold on. What I was going to say was, now that it's a pandemic, do you still offer to help, or do you feel like, because the other day, it's actually a few weeks ago, I meant to bring this up, but I saw a woman at my subway stop, and it's a really tiny one, so it's only a staircase. And I was like, "Oh, do you need any help?" And she either didn't hear me or she fucking ignored me, and she just picked up and walked and like by herself. And I was like, "Okay." And then that's when I was thinking, I was like, "Is it because it's COVID? Like, and she doesn't know who I am, doesn't want me touching her stroller and stuff with the baby?"
That could make sense.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm on the other side of things where I feel like I've observed too many men ignoring women with strollers on stairs.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like sometimes you just don't want, I get that point of it though as well. That's why lately I'm like, do I not say anything? Like I don't want to make it awkward. Not that it matters really, it's just a stare. But like I would understand if they were like, no, because of COVID, like I don't want you to help. And I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Of course. And then like depending on the direction of the baby and the stairs, like
you don't know who I am. I have a mask, but who knows? Like,
like there's a bunch of different things though. But I will still
help though.
I will still offer to help. If I'm on a bus or a train or something like that, I will still allow an elderly woman or man or pregnant woman to sit. Things like that. I'm just seeing a lack of respect for women. I'll shoot it straight. Okay. There's a lack of respect for women happening out here. I don't know where it started. I don't know where it's coming from.
I think it's just our society. We're moving away from.
But like they used to say chivalry is dead. No, chivalry is really dying now.
Chivalry is only with a few people, man. People like me and you still have it, but most people,
like I still open the door for my girl in the car.
Yeah, I mean that's good.
We go
to
the car. I open the door for her.
That's nice
walking down the street. I walk on the street side.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I'm like, that seems like it's fairly dated. I mean, I don't really think about that part as much, but I know you're supposed to do that. But like, I don't know.
Right? Yeah, it's just one of those like class things as a man. Like it's one of those like, oh, he's a guy with class.
I mean, listen, I agree. People should be more just polite, but as time goes on, we're becoming more. It's a mixture of like selfish, but also just people are keeping to themselves. I'm not going to bother you. Don't bother me. I'm going to do my own thing. That's how I'm going to live my life. Like people are becoming more and more like that, where they don't want to involve themselves in anything. They just want to do what they want to do. And that's it.
I feel it. I understand it. I definitely do. It's not. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not going to help though. Like, it's not going to help our society grow and improve.
But this is why we talked about like how we're moving towards like people want to work from home. And I'm like, but that's going to make this types of things worse. People like the less people are around other people, the less manners they're going to have in this. They're going to forget or not even think about these things. And we're not going to like, that's why I don't like the idea. I talk to so many like rude, disrespectful people all day, who are just like, nope, not doing it. Want to work from home. I don't like the idea of working from home. To me should be like a treat, maybe once a week, but I don't like the idea of like primarily working from home. But that's just me. I just think it's not good. Human beings, like we should be around each other, not on a screen,
Yeah, for you.
The last thing I want to talk about is something that happened to me. Now, again, we talked about it last week. I have been trying to get my nose fixed because I have like an issue, right? I lost my sense of smell, right? Probably in the last like 8 years, it's been getting worse. And for at least the last 4 years, I've had no sense of smell, gone. Like you could put deodorant right in my nose and I won't smell a thing, right? And with that, Terrance, comes a severe loss of taste. Now I still taste things, but I probably only taste like a quarter of what I should be tasting. Right now, after I finally, went through the insurance company and a whole bunch of shit, I got all these medicines. Terrance, I can smell again. And let me tell you, this week has been fucking insane. Since Monday, I've had this. It's insane, dude. I'm like, it's so hard
to you.
It is, man. Like, I don't want to compare. Like, if you lose your sight or hearing, those are obviously much more debilitating things. But I'm still getting like 1.5 senses back. Like, I'm getting my taste back from 25% essentially, or whatever. Well, it's bad to full. I can smell things. I'm telling you, man. Like, it's so hard to describe. Like, I'm walking down the street and I'm like, this guy walks by, I smell his cologne, and I smell the dirt, and someone doing construction. I'm like, there's so many smells. And it sounds so weird, but I'm like, this is like, you just forget how many smells there are. Like, I was washing my hands and I had some soap and I was like, soap smells really good. And I just completely forgot that was even a thing because I just haven't been able to smell for years, and it's like, dude, it has been a hell of a week. Let me tell you.
That's kind of dope, man. That reminds me of Jamie Foxx, who did the whole movie Ray blind. Like they said, he actually, like, I think they glued his eyes closed for the.
Hope not. That sounds awful.
The whole time, not real glue, but like so
maybe it was just
his eyes or whatever. But then he's like, he was talking about it after. It was just like, just the ability, like, to realize that I could see, after doing like such long scenes or whatever, it's like you get a new appreciation for those things, like the things you kind of take for granted.
That's what I mean, right? And people always say, like, you don't realize how much how good you had it until you lost something. It kind of works in reverse or whatever, where it's like you don't realize how important that thing was till you get it back. Like, I didn't realize just like I don't realize how little I was tasting until now that I started taking some medicine on like Saturday. By the time Monday hit, I was really starting to get it back. I had for dinner like frozen chicken nuggets and like microwavable vegetables. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever had. It tasted I was like, there's so much flavor.
It had more flavor in it.
Yeah, like there's ordinary fucking microwavable and then toaster shit. And I was like, this is so good. Like, it's just been such a crazy week. Like, it really does feel like there's a new dimension to my life, because I guess there is, but it's like, I suddenly am smelling this, I'm tasting this, like every meal. I'm like, this is gonna, like, when we finish this podcast, I'm gonna eat. Don't know what I'm gonna have for lunch, but fuck, it's gonna be good.
Damn, it's gonna be good.
Crazy situation though, man. I'm telling you, like if you like, and because it was gradual, like I didn't just wake up and have no smell. It was like years, so you don't really realize how bad it's getting, and then you get it back, man. So hopefully it stays this way, man, because I don't want to lose it anymore.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to hear you can smell.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's like a weird thing to describe, but it is pretty fantastic. But all right, Terrance, let's get to the end of our show here. We of course end every show with a hypothetical.
What you got?
Okay, Terrance, let's say I don't want to say a specific person. Let's say someone close to you was dying. They were on their deathbed. You know, they were old, like 70s, 80s, whatever. And they were dying, and everyone like they were going to die within the next day or so. And this person, let's say it's I don't know. Again, I don't want to say a specific person. Let's say this person, right? And they were like, I want you to do something for me. And they made a dying wish to you. If it was something you were like, I'm not doing that, would you tell them that in the moment? You know, like I can't do that, or would you just lie because they would be happier to know that dying. It doesn't matter to lie. So obviously you want them to be happy, and like if they were like, if you this person was like, make sure that, you don't have any more kids. And you're like, oh, like, you're having kids. Do you just say, oh yeah, no, I won't have any more kids? Or do you just go, no, yeah, I have to have, like, what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Sometimes sometimes Joe's hypothetical actually gives me a stumper.
Yeah, all I heard was a sigh.
Yeah, because it's just like
it's tough really... because is a lie that important? Like at the end of the day, you're lying to them, but they will feel better and then they pass. And so
I think going out happy is more important.
Right. Because you tell them no, then they're gonna go, oh, okay. like
it's there's a meaningful lie sometimes, right?
Yeah, like lies aren't inherently bad, and I think there are like, especially if someone's like, oh, I need a new haircut. Does it look good? You don't necessarily have to maybe tell them it looks terrible. If you just, looks good, like they feel bad about themselves.
Yeah, I think you lie.
Think you lie about it, man.
Yeah.
I feel like, can you please climb Mount Everest? Like, I'm not gonna ever do that in my life. So you're like, well, sure.
Yeah, it's a lie. Let them go out happy.
Yeah, unless it was something especially, like, unless they were like, my mom, she was like, make sure you make up with your sister. Don't be mad at her. In that case, I'd be like, well, it's probably a good point. Probably should. But if it was something like, like something else, I'm like, I would just tell her, yeah, I will, and hope there's no real haunting in the world, and I'll come back and I'm haunted for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
All right, Terrance. That wraps up the show, unless you got anything else.
No, man. Pretty interesting. We kind of zigzag through some meaningful, thought-provoking stuff, and
that's how the show goes, Terrance.
And our hilarious entertainment. But look, it's been a great show, and if you're listening to this and looking up in the sky and all of a sudden you realize that the sky is blue and it's just so beautiful, I just want you to remember that you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Need I say more?